everyone, my name is Armando Jimenez.
I'm Kristen Lennon.
And today we're going to be talking about for loops.
Armando, what's a for loop?
I'll tell you what a for loop is. So basically a for loop is a substitute to the while loop that we've already talked about. And basically when you have your for loop, anything that's inside the body of the for loop will be repeated as long as the Boolean condition equates to true.
Okay, so to create your for loop, first we're going to have our counter variable. So this is just going to be the declaration and initialization of a variable. So you can say like let I equals, and then you're going to set it to a number. It can be 0 if you want to start at the beginning. And then in your Boolean condition, this is going to be saying like while this is true, we're going to keep going through the for loop. And then in your adjust counter part of this, you're going to either increase or decrease the counter variable so that eventually when you're going through this becomes false and the for loop ends.
So for this example, we have our for loop set up right here, and it always starts off with our variable declaration initialization that we talked about earlier. So it's let I be equal to 0, and then and we will run this loop as long as I is less than 5. And then after we run it, we're basically just going to increment I by 1. So inside the body loop, what is this loop doing?
So this loop, we're going to start at I is 0, and we're going to go into the for loop because I is less than 5. So it's going to start and it's going to say print loop plus I. So it's going to print the word loop because it's in a string, and then it's going to concatenate it with the variable I. So right now our I starts at 0. And then, so after we do it once, we're going to increment I by 1, and so we're going to go back up to the for loop, and now I is 1 because we just increased it, and I is still less than 5, so we're going to go into the for loop again, and we're going to print loop plus 1, and then we're going to do that until I is not less than 5, and the for loop is going to end.
Wait a second. Couldn't we put another loop inside this though?
What? So, we're going to start at the top for loop, and so we're going to say let j equal 0. So right now j is equal to 0, and 0 is less than 3, so we're going to go into the for loop, and now we have this nested for loop. So now we're going to go into this one, and we're going to set I to 0. So we need to use different variable names because this one is inside this for loop. So now, while I is less than 5, we're going to go through this for loop. So what we want to do inside this for loop is print the outer loop plus j. So j is our variable from the first for loop, plus inner loop plus I, which is right here. So j is 0, and then it's going to stay at 0 while we go through this for loop until I is not less than 5. So when we print this, we're going to print outer loop plus 0, and it's going to stay 0 throughout this entire for loop for now, and then plus inner loop plus I. And so I is going to change. It starts at 0, and then it's going to go through this for loop once, and it's going to change to 1, and then it's going to go through it again, and 2, and dot 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 until I is not less than 5. So now, once we do this whole for loop the first time, we're going to go back out to our outer for loop, and now j is not going to be equal to 0 because we're incrementing it here, and j is going to be 1. So now j is 1, and we're going to go back in because j is still less than 3, and now we're going to get to our inner for loop, and it's going to say again let I is equal to 0. So now I is going to restart at 0, and this whole process is going to go through until I is not less than 5 again. So it's going to say now, it's going to print outer loop plus 1 because now we went through it one time, so an outer loop is 1, and the inner loop is going to go again from 0 to 4.
Thank you for watching this video. If you have any more questions, or if you have any more doubts about for loops, or want to even see more topics, we really strongly recommend that you check out the topics page that the team has set up.
Yeah, so that's it for now. Thanks for watching.